Hello everyone, ciao a tutti. This is Papilla ASMR. Today I just wanted to show you a super easy recipe, if I can call it that, of a tomato sauce full with vegetable for children. And I guess it can also be for people who don't like vegetables. So to make this, we're going to need 1 courgette. I just left them in their bag to make a little bit of crinkly sounds. So I have 3 here, but I'm only going to use 1. Then we're going to need 1 pepper, and red peppers are best to give flavor to recipes, in my opinion, but you could use yellow ones as well. I just don't recommend green ones because are a little bit on the bitter side, or tend to be. Then we have broccoli. I'm just going to use probably 4 little pieces. I'm not sure yet. And then we're going to need a little shallot or half an onion, a small carrot, and some celery and garlic. Now, I'm going to tell you a sort of what are the most important ones, and then once you know that, the other vegetables are up to you, and you can be more creative with the other ones. So the onion and the pepper are the 2 ingredients that make this recipe very yummy. They're sweet, they're full of flavor, and children tend to love it, and grown up as well. I understand that onion is a flavor that not everybody loves, but when you do, it really makes a difference. And we use garlic a lot in Italy, as you know, but we use it in a very mild way. So there's no need to get rid of it just because it is a children's recipe. So another thing that would make your life easier for this recipe is one of these blenders, or a bigger one, even better. And if you have a particularly vegetable lover in your family, you may also want to blend the sauce at the end with an immersion one. I'm not sure how you call those, but yeah, manual immersion mixer kind of thing. For the actual sauce, I recommend you use a passata, and that's because it is sweet and velvety, as it says here. This is my absolute favorite one, Mutti. 100% Italian, but yeah, just the passata will be any kind will be fine. It's just because it is very smooth and sweet, and so it's definitely the best for this recipe. And I have here 700 grams. But I also, with my toddler, I also add a little bit, 400 grams of polpa, so finely chopped tomatoes. I do this to give a more interesting kind of texture, but they have to be really finely chopped, because she just wouldn't go for anything with, big chunks or anything like that. So if you're not sure, just skip this. You can just add extra passata. So the whole idea of this recipe is to finely blend the vegetables first, then use them as the base for the sauce. So cook them with olive oil, in a pan until they're completely cooked. That means not burned, but very sort of translucent and thoroughly cooked. We don't want anything kind of crunchy in this recipe. And only when they're really soft and cooked, add the smooth passata. So I'm not going to show you the cooking part, and you'll see why. So one thing I also have to add is that if you're using garlic, just add 1 clove at the beginning, and then remember to take it out before you put the passata. I mean, you can even do it later, but just remember, because it's not very likely that children would like a piece of garlic in their pasta. It doesn't really matter which vegetable you start with, because they're all going to go in the blender. And I do tend to kind of improvise in terms of quantities, but what I always put a lot of is red pepper. The darker the best usually, the better. So when you see like really intense dark red, that's usually going to have more flavor. I realize now that by making sounds with the plastic, I haven't washed these, but oh well. add the courgettes to this. And then, since this is quite small, I'm going to blend these 3 vegetables first, and then do the others later. As you can see, it's already full, so obviously if you want to do this by hand, just make sure to make very small pieces and just slice it really, really finely. And that's okay too. I guess it will just take a little bit more time, but yeah, you don't have to have one of these necessarily. So I'll go blend this and I'll see you later. So now I'm just going to use just a little piece of celery. And as you can see, I've blended the courgettes, the pepper and the shallot. And I've added salt and olive oil. Obviously with children, you want to, be careful with the salt, but a little bit is needed, I think. So as you can see, at the beginning, this will have quite a lot of water, mainly for the courgettes. So the trick is to cook it at quite a strong heat. Obviously don't leave it because it will burn, but if you keep stirring it, you'll just be able to see the vegetables that will slowly lose the water and become cooked and nice and more stir-fried than boil, if it makes sense. I've always done that with carrot instead of washing it. I don't know where it came from, probably my parents. So again, if you don't want to add broccoli to this recipe, you could add, I guess, kale. You could add some sort of like stringless beans, for instance, or even green beans. You could add, I guess you could add peas. I never made it with peas, but could be an idea. Cavolo Nero is another one that I use now that I can find it here in the UK, since it's quite in fashion, let's say. But you can use any greens. I have made this with spinach, and the thing is that you won't be able to taste a lot of the broccoli and the courgettes because the pepper is quite strong, so the pepper will win in the end, and the flavor will be mainly the tomato and the pepper. So try it even if you don't like broccoli. Maybe, try with a little quantity first. But my daughter just hates broccoli. She literally throws them at me if I, present her with this little sprouts part. But she is actually. But she loves this recipe, and she could eat, big plates of it. So, okay. I think these are enough for today. Maybe I'll just put a tiny, another one. Okay. So I'm going to also put these in here. Whilst with the garlic, I'm just going to, as I said, just add the clove, 1 clove to the pan. I definitely don't want to kind of mash it or, just slice it, anything like that. I wouldn't do that in general for adults recipes either, but definitely not for children. So now I'm going to go and blend these as well, and then I'm just going to cook the base and add the sauce. So these are the vegetables cooked. Has to be this kind of, stir fry basically. And I forgot to say that I also add quite a lot of basil, which you can add now in this whilst you cook the vegetables, or when you add the sauce. It's up to you. But it is also very important to give the yumminess and the sweet flavor to the sauce. I always add basil to tomato sauce. So now I'm going to add the passata and the chopped tomatoes as well. And I'm going to show you then the results and how I freeze it, how I store the sauce. And here we are. So, as you can see, the sauce is quite thick. So, when you make pasta, you could add, if it's too thick, you can add a little bit of the pasta water. So what I usually do is I prepare this big pot, and then I have one of these freezer containers. It's kind of like the ice cube ones, but they are deeper, so that they can accommodate more sauce, more of like baby food kind of thing. And I used to use it for baby food, and now that she's grown, I still use them for these kinds of preparations, as well as for like grown-up kind of preparations. Like I like to make big batches of pesto. So they're just very good for food prep. And so I'll just fill it up, and when I need it, I'll take out a little scoop, well, a little cube, and defrost it in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and then dress the pasta with it. Now, as I was saying at the beginning, this is quite a thick sauce, so if your child really hates vegetables or this kind of consistency, you can just blend the sauce at this point. Mine doesn't anymore, so she can eat this easily, but obviously if you mix it, if you blend it, it will be much smoother, and also there won't be like little basil leaves and stuff. She does not like those, actually. And usually I fill up either 2 of these, or I'll fill up 1 and then use the remain of the sauce for to make pasta on that day. Whatever you prefer. I find that it's just a very convenient way. And as I said, you can do this if you're grown up as well. Just you have to just work out how much you want to freeze. How much you want to use every time, and for how much pasta. In a minute, I will show you the kind of pasta that I usually use. Oops. And how much. As I was saying before, the prevalent taste in this is the pepper. And this is also true for the smell, because the main smell I'm getting from this is of pepper. So quite I find it to be quite good, because it tends to be the vegetable that kids love the most or hate the least. I have other, I do make other sauces for children without tomato, actually. And if you're interested, I can show you more. Okay. So, a little bit messier than usual, but I have a bigger spoon than usual. So there you go. You can either get another one of these, or use this the rest of the sauce today, which is what I'm going to do. Obviously, nobody pays me to say this, but the brand that I use is this one, NUK. I think maybe it's a German brand, but I think you can find, different version of the same thing, basically. So then I'll obviously freeze this, and when I need it, I just it's easy to get each one out with the silicone base. So the pasta that you can use for this, it's either a small pasta like this one. These are little stars, stelline. And it's usually a couple of handfuls quite big, I'd say, for one of the cubes. But this obviously will depend on the sort of the measurements of the one you will use, and you'll have to gauge that. And so with this type of pasta, it comes out very creamy, and I would recommend adding a little bit of the pasta water, cooking pasta water. This is also very convenient because with this type of small pasta it only takes about 5 minutes to cook. So yes, I found this recipe to be my to-go one when I have little time, or when I want to make something for her that I know that she's going to eat, if that makes sense. But now that she's getting older, bigger, she also likes like bigger kind of pasta shapes, like these animal pasta shapes. And this obviously, they take longer. See, there's a giraffe, turtle, lion. It obviously takes longer to cook the bigger it is. This is about, it says 6 to 7 minutes, but it's probably a bit longer actually, but yeah, but she likes to, it's easier for her to feed herself with bigger pasta shapes. But I would also do a couple of handfuls of this. And what you can add as protein, if you want to make a sort of like a complete nutritionally kind of balanced meal, you can either add some ricotta, for instance, at the end, just like a couple of teaspoons are enough. And or just some parmesan on top. At least that's what I find to go best with this recipe, and what she prefers as well. But it also depends if they eat meat, and what else. I guess you could add some cod, for instance, and just when it's flaky, when it's cooked, you can add it a tiny bit, kind of like this size, to the dish when the pasta is made, and that would make for a nutritionally kind of ideal meal, even if I don't tend to obsess over that sort of way of thinking. So I hope you liked today's videos. It's a bit different, and I hope you can, take something out of it, even if you don't have children. And do let me know if you like to see more of these kinds of videos. Buon appetito. A presto.